Coming up, we celebrate one of the greatest rock voices of all time. He's the guy that the legends all revere. And we also have an interview with him where he breaks down one of the crown jewels of classic rock music with one of the most recognizable guitar riffs ever. It's next on Professor of Rock, brought to you by Zenni Eyewear. Make sure to check out the latest frames at zenni.com. Hey, music junkies. Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If music is a passion in your life, you're going to want to join this community by subscribing to this channel below so you don't miss out on our daily content celebrating the best of the rock era. Also, if you want to help support our mission of curating the history of songs, artists, interviews, all of these things, that great history, become a patron. Now, we're jumping back into our feature Vox, where, of course, we celebrate the greatest vocalists of the rock era. And I have to say, very matter of fact, I believe that Paul Rodgers is one of the greatest vocalists of the rock era, but don't take my word for it. I mean, the opinion of luminaries such as Freddy Mercury, Ann Wilson, Robert Plant, John Mellencamp, and Lou Gramm, so many more, they carry a lot more weight than mine when they name Paul Rodgers not only one of the greatest, but their all-time favorite vocalists. He's so admired by his peers that several of the biggest classic rock bands in history have asked Paul to be their lead singer when that position opened up. Talking about Deep Purple, Journey, even The Doors, who tried to recruit him after Jim Morrison died. Paul was the dynamic lead vocalist for Free, Bad Company, The Firm, The Law, and really for that exciting collaboration with Queen from late 2004 to 2009. It was amazing. When Brian May and Roger Taylor decided to tour again as Queen, they sought to recruit a vocalist that the late Freddie Mercury would have approved of to do justice to his legacy and, of course, honor the music of Queen. So they chose one of Freddie's favorites, Paul Rodgers. The idea to invite Paul to join Queen was spawned by a performance that Brian May did with Paul when the two played a rendition of All Right Now on stage at the Fender Strat Pack concert in South Africa in 2004. Brian May was quoted as saying the first time that he worked with Paul, he was in awe of him. Imagine that. May also gushed about his adoration of Free's 1970 album Fire and Water, calling it a real inspiration to us. The collaboration of Queen plus Paul Rodgers lasted about 5 years. Although it was relatively short-lived, it was a special period in the rock annals, for sure. Paul Rodgers has the versatility, power, the range, and passion that really puts him in a league of his own. He can rivet a smoky honky-tonk with his bluesy soulfulness or blast over a stadium with his mighty rock bravado. Hailing from Middlesbrough, England, Paul Rodgers began his musical career playing bass guitar for a band called the Roadrunners with his oldest brother Joe. It was Colin Bradley, the original lead singer of the Roadrunners, that convinced Paul to take over lead vocal duty for the group. The Roadrunners, with Paul as the frontman, left Middlesbrough to be part of the London music scene and changed their name to the Wildflowers. Besides Paul Rodgers, the Wildflowers included Mickey Moody, who would later be part of Whitesnake, and Bruce Thomas, who went on to play with Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Pretty cool. 1968 was a milestone for Paul as he joined the band Free. 2 years later, in 1970, Free had their one and only top 40 hit with All Right Now. Love that song. Although the song shot up to the top 5 in the US and the UK, Free was not able to follow its success and the band broke up in 73. Out of the ashes of Free in 73 came the formation of a British supergroup, Bad Company, with ex-Free bandmates Paul Rodgers at lead vocals, Simon Kirke on drums, along with Mick Ralphs from Mott the Hoople playing lead guitar, and Boz Burrell, formerly of King Crimson, on bass. Bad Company had a solid run from 74 through 82, dropping 6 studio albums with Paul Rodgers as lead vocalist and primary lyricist. But Paul left the group in 82 and later partnered with guitar hero Jimmy Page, drummer Chris Slade, and bassist Tony Franklin to form the band The Firm in 1984. The Firm's debut single, Radioactive, was huge at rock radio in America. It reached #1 on the Billboard top rock tracks in '84. I mean, come on, you got Jimmy Page and Paul Rodgers on the record. How could that not be massive at rock radio? Radioactive also went to number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the music video for Radioactive was heavily played on MTV. The firm only released 2 studio albums. They broke up in 1986. After a brief project in '91 with ex-Small Faces and The Who drummer Kenny Jones titled The Law, Rodgers concentrated on his solo career until he rejoined Bad Company in 1998. And he shuffled between solo work and returning to Bad Company since, except for that 5-year collaboration with Queen. Paul Rodgers continues really to be his own man, and he follows his heart to decide which projects that he's compelled to do. After more than 50 years, as one of the most respected vocalists of the rock era, he really hasn't slowed down at all, still consistently playing on the road and creating new music. Having said that, here is my Paul Rodgers Fiber. Top 5 recorded performances. First, an honorable mention. Feel Like Making Love. Bad Company. What I've always appreciated about this performance is how Paul Rodgers holds back. When you hear the heart-pounding guitar going into that chorus, any other vocalist, I think, would have sung the lyrics with everything they had in the tank, but not Paul. He holds back and he spits out a vocal that is a bit subdued, very emotional and wanting. It's seductive and spirited, but not over the top. I love that. Number 5, Walk in My Shadow. A stunning Paul Rodgers performance from his days with Free off their 1969 album, Tons of Sobs. Walk in My Shadow is really an excellent starting point to discover just how incredible of a vocalist that Paul Rodgers truly is. I'm gonna give you what's in store. It's an important song to reference when reflecting on his body of work, since it is near the beginning of his career. On this track, Paul hits the world with his arsenal of soulful blues rock and kept it coming with just relentless power. Number 4. Bad Company, Till the Day I Die, the third single and title track from Bad Company's debut album in '74. Paul co-wrote this song with his Free compadre Simon Kirke. Besides being an essential track from the days when bands made real rock records, Bad Company is just perfect for Rodgers' style. Bad Company, till the day we die. Paul made this a rebel song with a renegade spirit that has captured a new generation of artists such as Garth Brooks and Five Finger Death Punch, who have both recorded inspired versions of the song. Number 3, Bad Company's Can't Get Enough. Paul Rodgers is truly in his element, delivering a cocky, forceful vocal full of swagger in this classic rock staple that was also a huge crossover hit. This is Bad Company guitarist Mick Ralphs at his best. His guitar riffs are insane. I mean, he wrote Can't Get Enough when he was still with Mott the Hoople, but they didn't want to record the song, so Mick gave it to his new Bad Company bandmates. And they loved it. You tell me that your love is gonna break me in two, but don't you hurt me. Can't Get Enough was the first single released by Bad Company in 1974, and it was also their highest charting single on the pop chart. It reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it hit number 3 in Canada and 15 in the UK. Number 2, Good Lovin' Gone Bad. Just a scorching Paul Rodgers performance off the second Bad Company album, Straight Shooter. Good Lovin' Gone Bad is another standout penned by Mick Ralphs that Paul Rodgers interprets it masterfully. He transitions from a tender declaration of honesty with the lyric, "'Cause I'm a man, I've got my pride, I don't need no woman to hurt me inside, I need love." 'Cause I'm a man, I got my pride, I don't need no woman to hurt me inside. To the Good Lovin' Gone Bad chorus with so much passion and conviction. You can hear how much he felt that song. Always impressed when a singer puts that much heart into a vocal of a song that they didn't write. It's the mark, really, of a great song, but also a great interpreter. As a blues rock vocalist, Paul Rodgers just does it with the best of them. And number one, All Right Now by Paul Rodgers and Free from the album Fire and Water. In my opinion, this is definitive Paul Rodgers because it fires up all aspects of his enormous talent and why he's so revered by his peers. I had the unique opportunity to ask Paul about this song in a session we did some years back. Here's what he said. Tell me the story behind All Right Now, writing and recording that, one of the greatest songs of all time.
What happened was we were a blues band. We played Free were all blues when we first started out with a couple of original songs. I'd written Walk in My Shadow, I think. And then Paul Kossoff and I wrote Moonshine. So we had a couple of original songs. And I said to Paul, you know, the way forward, really, the way to be considered unique and different is for us to phase out the blues, much as I loved it.
Yeah.
And reintroduce as much of our own material as we could. So that's what we started to do. We started to phase in as much of our own original material as we could. So that by the time we got to All Right Now, we were playing all of our own material, except one song, The Hunter by Albert King. We used to play that song. We couldn't better that song whenever we played. We always had to finish the set with it. We couldn't leave the building without doing that song. And I said to Paul, we have to have a song that can top that, you know, something that will have a chorus in it, like, all right now. That's it. And so we wrote the chorus, and then I wrote the lyrics back from there.
Come on, I can't hear you. Come on. All right now, baby, it's all right now. Okay, we're gonna get you.
All Right Now ascended to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 in the UK in 1970. And it's one of the most played rock tracks of all time, having generated well over 3 million plays around the globe by 2006. You know, unlike many other aging rockers, Paul Rodgers still sounds amazing. With unfailing range and vigor, check out his 2014 solo album release, The Royal Sessions. Listen to how great he sounds, particularly on his version of Sam and Dave's I Thank You. There's also the 2018 album Free Spirit, which exhibits his enduring greatness as an incredible live performer. Paul Rodgers is not only the favorite singer of many legends out there, but I'm pretty sure if God listed his favorite vocalist of all time, Paul Rodgers would be at the top of the list. That's how great he is. Leave us a comment about Paul Rodgers and Free, Bad Company, and all these songs. Tell us your favorite Paul Rodgers performances. Now to hear these songs, click on our playlist below as usual. You can also get the records and merch on our Amazon links below to celebrate him the right way. Join our community if you like this content. Subscribe to this channel. Help us keep the music alive always. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friend.